Okay. Back in the record, everyone. Just give me a second. We're back in the record. Three indictments. Indictment 1608, 0667, 1609, 0720, then 1702, 105. Parents, I get it, Mr. Fisher.
Thank you, Your Honor. William Fisher on behalf of the state.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Stephanie Katz on behalf of the state.
John Boyle, State, Your Honor.
Okay, and Mr. Forchion, you kind of just speak for the record.
Edward Forchion, right?
Mr. Forchion, you want to move that microphone closer to you? Okay. Let me get the notation for you. Okay. The record should reflect that the court has executed an order permitting video of this proceeding. The name of the requester. I executed this when I received it today. It's my impression that Mr. Forchion wants to proceed self-represented and pro se. Okay. Mr. Forchion, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to ask you anything about the cases, okay? But as I indicated before, I want to clarify everything so we don't have to proceed. How the documents are being filed, who's filing documents, briefing statements. So, Mr. Forchion, I'm going to ask that you rise. I'm going to place you under oath, okay?
You do solemnly swear, let's raise your right hand, sir.
The best that you can.
You do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give to the court in this matter should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, also you affirm.
I affirm.
Please state your full name for the record.
Edward Forchion,
Please spell your last name for the court.
Forchion.
Thank you.
Mr. Forchion, please be seated. Okay, it's my impression, and I've placed you under oath, I'm not going to say anything about the cases on this. It's my impression you want to proceed pro se, self-represented, okay? Do you want to proceed on your own, or how do you want to proceed, just so I can understand where you begin this? Exactly what is it that you're seeking?
Okay, I wanted to proceed pro se, but I'm not giving up my Sixth Amendment right to assistance of counsel. In the past, I've done this, and basically it was called a hybrid representation. I've had the Feretta hearings before, I had the Blazer hearing, I think it was called. And in those cases in Camden County, there's a lawyer named Jamie Kay, who was assigned as my standby counsel. In Burlington County, there was 2 trials, and in both those trials, a public defender named Don Ackerman was assigned as my assistant. In both cases, I did the opening statements. 2 of them, I did the closing statements. All 3 of them, I cross-examined.
Hold on a second. You did the openings, you did the closings. Go ahead.
And all 3 of them, I cross-examined witnesses. And all 3.
Did you cross-examine all the witnesses?
No, not all of them.
Just
Some of them, like there's a, say in Burlington County, first and second case, we had an expert witness and public defender cross-examined the expert witness. In all 3 cases, I deferred objections to standby counsel or the assistant counsel. I did, in all 3 cases, I picked the jury, I spoke to the jury. Yeah. And I chose the line of defense that I wanted. In each case, I cited Feretta. Feretta clearly says the defendant has a right to choose his defenses. For if his defenses fail, he's the one who suffers the consequences. So I made a point to constantly say, I want to do this my way. And I did get resistance here, there, and the other, and this is why I chose to do this, and since then I always do it.
So in essence, you want to have standby counsel. You want to provide an opening and a closing. You want to cross-examine some witnesses. Objections are left to counsel, and you're selecting the jury as counsel selecting the jury.
Aye.
During jury selection, you came to sidebar to address the jurors?
Yes.
Okay. Did standby counsel come with you also?
Yes.
Who was asking follow-up questions? You were standby counsel?
Standby counsel because they're all complicated issues, legal issues.
I'm going to ask a lot of questions as you're well aware. I'll move through the questions, okay? If there's an issue with any question, just let me know for the answer, okay? I'm not anything about the facts of any cases. Okay? How old are you?
52, be 53 next month.
Okay. Tell me about your educational background.
12 years, high school, a couple years, college. I went to college in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Did almost,
Where did you go to high school at?
it was called Edgewood High School in Hacklow, New Jersey. It's now called Winslow Township High School.
And college?
I did a couple years at Claflin University in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And I did almost 4 years in the Army. When I was in the Army, I did the Army classes. I think they were administered by the University of Arizona, if I remember right. I took some classes there. And I picked up a class or two, a writing class, I think it was at Glassboro. It was Rowan University now. That's it.
How long were you in the armed forces?
I was in the Army in the military 3 different times. I was in the New Jersey National Guard for a couple years, 3 or 4 years, I don't remember. I was in the Marine Corps. I got discharged out of the Marine Corps for a medical discharge, and then I re-enlisted in the Army, and I did almost 4 years in the Army.
Do you have educational training background in your armed services?
Well, I took the last time in the Army I was a medic, but when I got out of the Army, I still wanted to see the country, I guess. You know, I became a truck driver, didn't go in the medical field. Actually, I found out in the Army that I didn't really like the medical field. So I just became a truck driver and I crisscrossed the country for 12 years.
Okay, can you tell the court your past experience in representing yourself? You mentioned Burlington County. Okay, can you just elaborate on that?
Burlington County case was I got caught red-handed with a pound of marijuana in the trunk of my car. It was a rental car. I was coming from the airport. I just got in town from California. I represented that it was a simple possession case, that it was mine. I was a medical marijuana user. It was mine. The state was wrong in their law on 2 aspects. One, marijuana is a medical substance. Since then, the state of New Jersey has recognized that too. We have a medical marijuana law in New Jersey now. That happened on April 1st, 2010, and the New Jersey Medical Marijuana Compassionate Use Act. The New Jersey Compassionate Use Act didn't go into effect until July. So in my pretrial motions to argue those things, I was denied those because technically I was 3 months too early. But I still presented that argument basically before the jury, and I think the jury found for me because I was caught red-handed with a pound of marijuana. and the jury still said there was possession and not possession of intent to distribute. I know that the New Jersey state law says anything over 50 grams could be used as possession with intent to distribute. But I argued that was wrong to the jury. And again, the jury found in my favor. And they ruled in the first trial it was a hung jury, which to me was a victory. And then in the second trial, the retrial, I got 12-0 for not guilty. And I was guilty, but got found not guilty. By technicality, by the law, I did have more than 50 grams. I had 448 grams. Back to the first case also, I did get found guilty of simple possession, but
Did you assist any other cases you were involved in? Just tell me the locations and the dates.
Camden County, 1997. I got arrested with 39 pounds of marijuana.
What did you, how were you involved in that case? Did you question the jurors? Did you
Yes.
You voir dire the jurors?
I never.
You opened and closed? And
I did, well, right in the middle of that trial, the prosecutor convinced me to accept the plea bargain in Camden, and I stipulated that I would only take the plea bargain if I could pull the jury and see how many were on my side, and I had 5. So I always regretted taking that plea bargain, said I'd never take another one. But yeah, I did the opening, I would have done the closing, but we came
did you
to
question the witnesses?
some of them,
And some were questioned by standby counsel?
yes,
That was sitting at the table throughout the proceedings?
yes.
Okay.
And I think in both counties, they regard it as a hybrid representation. I think in New Jersey, I think it's based on state versus Reddish or state versus Long. It's been done quite a bit, actually.
Next question I have for you is, are you familiar with the New Jersey Criminal Code?
No, I'm not.
You're not familiar with 2C Criminal Code?
Well, I mean, I know some things, but I'm not gonna say I'm an expert at it. I admit that I haven't been trained in legalese. But I think I can work my way through it, and besides that, neither does the jury. And as far as I'm concerned, the jury is the most powerful entity in the courtroom, and that's who I'll be talking to anyway.
Okay. You understand what the charges are?
Absolutely.
Okay. You understand the possible consequences, for instance?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You understand, I believe on indictment 1608-0667, those consequences, 1609-0720, those consequences, and 17-020105, there's obvious consequences. And you're aware of the extent of those consequences. You're aware of the possible sentences that can be imposed.
I acknowledge, yeah. Yes, I'm not sure exactly how much time, because there's the issue of does the Brumage Act come into play or not? The Brumage Act come into play or not? There's an issue of, say for instance, the fortification charge, fortification indictment. My reading of the indictment, my reading of the charge, that in conjunction with the drug law, that it would have to be, I would have to serve a consecutive sentence.
Rather than concurrent.
Right, like it's mandated in the law.
Let me ask you a question. Indictment 1608-0667, which consists of 11 counts, I believe. What do you think your possible exposure is on that indictment?
In reality, I think 0. I think the jury's gonna let me walk. So yeah, I think it's like 10, 12 years, somewhere in that area. Depends again on the fortification charge. I think the fortification charge changes the dynamics of it all.
So if all charges are on concurrence, one, if all charges run consecutive, it's different, correct?
Yes. I think the only one that's mandated that way, mandated to be consecutive is the fortification indictment, the fortification statute.
Because you understand that concurrent and consecutive, there's a pretty big significance if they're consecutive, depending on what the jury verdict is, rather than concurrent.
I totally understand that.
So you understand that?
Yes.
Indictment D 1702-0105, the alleged tampering, are you aware of what the charge, what the possible incarceration period is for those charges?
Yes.
Okay. And you understand that once again, if they're consecutive or if they're concurrent, could be a significant difference. You understand that? So let's just say hypothetically, indictment 1702-0105, hypothetically, there's a difference again, depending on what happens. Okay? So you're aware of that?
Yes.
Okay. And also there is the 1609-0720, which is the cyber harassment, and you're aware of that, correct?
Yes. And I also looked at all three indictments, and I look at the cyberbullying and the tampering as, I don't really think they're going to go to trial, but if they do, I don't think no jury in Mercer County will find me guilty of those. I can't even believe I'm sitting here in Orange because of them. That's my thoughts on both. I look at the 677 indictment number. I look at that as where my fight really is, where I would have a substantial risk of going to prison. So the other two cases, I would be laughing at if I wasn't sitting here in Orange. I really don't think much of them. So yeah, that's how I feel about them. In both of those cases, the cyberbullying and the witness tampering, I'm very tempted to file a motion to dismiss or a motion to suppress, but I understand by the Bail Reform Act that tolls my time. And that's the only reason why I haven't pursued that at this point. From my understanding, again, I may be right or wrong, but my understanding is at this point, I'm 110 days into 180-day required trial. And, you know, I've pretty much decided that I wasn't even going to file a motion to dismiss or a motion to suppress, because I have a better chance and a faster chance at a jury dismissing it or letting it go than you know. I don't know how long it takes. It really depends on you. I don't know how long it take you to make a ruling. It was scary to me, to be honest with you, scary to me when Ms. Katz filed her motion for restraining order last August. It took until February for you to make that decision, and I wouldn't want to get stuck in the same situation. I waited 5 months.
There were some significant questions in the documentation that had to be addressed.
I understand.
Okay, but
And the First Amendment.
So you understand there's technical rules governing the conduct of the trial, presenting a defense, and it's not just a simple matter of telling your story. And you also understand that, as we have discussed, technical rules include New Jersey Rules of Evidence, New Jersey Code of Criminal Conduct. Now, you brought up bail reform. You understand if there's a mistrial in the one trial, something happens, and the court has to declare a mistrial, then there's a time period before the trial restarts?
I think I read 90 days. I did read it. I don't remember the
A little
number.
more than 90 days.
Okay, but yes, I do know.
You understand that?
Yes.
So if something happens during the trial, something is said, or something causes prejudice, you understand that if there's a mistrial, there is a situation in which you have to be retried, whether it be more than 90 days. Okay? You understand that?
I do.
So you understand one of the pitfalls of trying the case with respect to that, if something happens that becomes a prejudicial issue that affects the jury or affects the trial, you may have to wait additional period of time. You understand that?
I understand that. I also understand even before the Bail Reform Act that something very similar could have happened. In all 3 trials, I did nothing to create a mistrial. I did nothing to disrupt the court. I was pretty calm. I did everything as close to the books as I could, and I had standby counsel to slow me down when I got close to the line. I think just based on my last 3 trials, I never disrupted the court. I didn't interfere with the jury process. I didn't interfere with due process, the process of the courts. I simply put on my case.
You understand your defenses, if any, that exist? What defenses you have? You don't have to tell me that. Just, you understand your defenses, what they possibly can do?
I know what I want to do now, and once I'm assigned standby, I'll run it by them and see if they can help me perfect them. I'm sure they can offer me other options too.
But you also understand a lawyer has substantial experience in training in trial procedures and can benefit you.
Yes, that's why I want to provide me with the Sixth Amendment right to assistance, so that they can lend their experience to me.
And that's with respect to tactical decisions during the trial, also your defenses, and also you're aware that a skilled attorney would have a lot of experience in doing this, in trying the case.
Yeah,
Pitfalls that are up during the case. So what happened? You're saying that during the trial, counsel also assisted you with respect to discretionary items, correct?
Yeah, if I was towing the line, say, for crossing some court rule, the standby counsel would stop me, or at least advise me. I think that I can comply with the rules. It's not simple. There's nothing very complicated about these cases, I don't think. I think I can communicate with the jury. I think I can cross-examine who I have to cross-examine, and if I can't, I'll defer it to the standby counsel. As far as picking a jury, I'm a pretty good judgment of people. I think I'll probably be able to recognize more than 6 of them that will be in my favor from the rip. So, and I don't even hide it. I'm looking for a hung jury. That's my goal. I just need one. I can get one in a church.
Yeah, but you understand if you have a hung jury,
Yeah.
then what do you think happens?
Then the prosecutor gets to get embarrassed the second time. That's what happened in Burlington County. And actually, I mean, if I could throw a caveat in there, I'm demanding my right to a trial, right to a speedy trial, and if you so would you order the prosecutor not to try to bribe me out of my right to a fair trial by trying to offer pleas. I don't want no plea. I want a trial. So I'm just throwing this in there. If you could, if you would, if it's in the court rules, you can order the prosecutor not to offer me a plea. I don't want a plea. I have a constitutional right to a trial, and that's what I want. I don't want to accept a plea. I don't want to be bribed with leniency. This is what I want. And these are the things that I've bumped heads with public defenders and lawyers about. And that's why I need to represent myself, so I can speak for myself, so I can stay on the track that I want. And again, Feretta says it, a couple of other cases say it, New Jersey cases say it. I have a right to represent myself. I have a right to the defenses I want, the tactics I want, for if they fail, I'm the only one who suffers the consequences.
If you understand, if there's a hung jury, that a new trial for this new bail reform would not be for approximately 120 days.
Well, I understand.
You understand that?
I understand. Like I said, I did the number wrong. I thought it was 90, you said 120, I accept it.
You believe there's any technical problems besides the fact that rules of evidence in the 2C criminal code that could affect your possible defense?
No, I could go to trial next week. I'm fine with it all, as it is now.
How about the admissibility of certain evidence?
I think it would slow me down.
In what?
I think it would slow me down. I'll go for it, I'll fight it. That's again, this is something that a lawyer would probably recommend me not doing. But me, knowing what I want to do, that'll slow me down and keep me in orange longer. I think the jury's gonna let me go.
So you're not going to contest any evidence that there's...
Very little, because I don't want to get slowed down. Very little.
How about there's evidentiary issues, okay, that could affect your innocence, and there may be an evidentiary issue? You're just going to let it proceed because you don't want to slow you down?
If that is presented to me in the future, I mean, you're speaking hypothetically.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, if that happens in the future, my standby counsel will advise me, and I'll make that decision then. But I can pretty much tell you now, I'm ready for trial now.
So you want to stand by counsel and you want to serve as your attorney. So you want to, some situation, you're a defendant, some situations during the trial, you're going to serve as the attorney, correct? Because you're going to defer to stand by counsel.
Yeah, if I was a rich person, I could sit here with 6 different attorneys, or I could sit like Bill Cosby with 4, and I could defer things and ask questions. This counsel could do this, that one could do that. Barishek could do this. Johnny Cochran could do that. In my case, I don't know if I'm gonna have Miss Lyons or Miss Perez or who's gonna sit here, but I'm gonna make all the decisions. And again, asking to represent myself does in no way invalidate my 6th Amendment right to assistance of counsel. So that's all I'm saying. I'm going to represent myself, no matter what. That's how I feel. I'm going to represent myself. And if you stop me, then we have to have interlocutory appeal. But yes, I'm totally down.
The question I think you're posing is, you're going to proceed, and the question is to what extent you're going to proceed with assistance of standby counsel. Because you already indicated you did this in Rome. You already indicated you may have done this in camp. Okay? And in essence, what you're saying is...
In all reality, I actually did it in Ocean County and Camden, and Atlantic County too, but the Ocean County and Atlantic County got consolidated into the Camden County. So, you know.
They all run in Camden County.
Yes, because Camden County decided to put me on trial first. And as I was winning, and that's how I looked at it, I was winning, I was going to get a hung jury. But I looked at it as I also knew that after I got the hung jury in Camden County, I would still face Ocean County and Atlantic County at the time. So I argued to the Camden County prosecutor, Mr. Wynn, that I would only accept his bribery offer, his plea bargain, if he included the Ocean County and the Atlantic County together. He was with it at first. Judge Rosenzweig said no. And then we went to proceed again. One of the jurors started crying. So then somehow they had an epiphany and they changed their minds and they granted it. And then I was being a butthead, and I then demanded that I would take their plea, their bribery, if one, I got to poll the jury, and two, that they would include ISP in it. And they did it, because they didn't want to lose to a dreadhead dude that never did a court case in his life. So I feel that was a win too, even though I wound up taking the plea. And I took the plea. Right there in court, John Lynn said that I'd be in prison for 3 to 6 months. A year later, well, actually a month after I got in prison, I got this letter in the mail from ISP saying that I was ineligible for ISP. So then I motioned on my own to withdraw my plea because I said the state had changed, had bamboozled me and had changed the terms of the plea. And miraculously, a month before the hearing before Judge Thompson was to happen, where I was to withdraw my motion because the state changed the plea bargain, I was granted ISP. So then I had ISP, which turned into another fiasco, but that's a story for federal courts. But I think I can handle myself. I won't be disruptive. I think I have a basic understanding of my rights. I have a basic understanding of due process. I have a basic understanding of what I can and cannot do in court. I may toe the line, but I won't cross the line. And if I get close to crossing the line, my assistant will stop me. My assistant will, whatever. If the prosecutor has an objection that goes over my head, then the assistant is there to pick it up for me. I think if you grant this wish, it will be an interesting trial. It will be interesting. I think it will, it will proceed with no problems from me.
So you make a decision voluntarily, no one's forced or forced you to make this decision, correct?
No, it's my choice. I'm trying to do this. This is what I came to Trenton, New Jersey to do. I came here, I knew I was going to get a fight. This is my fight that I wanted. I got the platform, I got the podium that I wanted.
So you're really not well versed with New Jersey rules of evidence or New Jersey court rules, and you indicated that. And you also understand that a mistrial may cause you to be detained pursuant to the Bail Reform Act, that you will continue to be detained in all likelihood for 120 days before a new trial is ordered. You understand that? And that includes a hung jury.
I understand that. Actually, again, the New Jersey Appellate Court has already ruled I can reopen my detention hearing, which we haven't got to that yet. So I may not even be in Orange by the time the trial starts, and all these 180 days and all these rules may not even apply at time of trial. Who knows how you'll rule whenever we do the...
Who's going to file the, you're not filing any motions except the detention motion, is that what you're saying?
That's how I'm looking at it right now. Like I said, who knows? Maybe you'll accept it. Maybe at the new detention hearing, I'll be released, and some of these things will be looked at differently by me at that point. But at this point, because I am detained by the New Jersey Bail Reform Act, that has formed my opinion that I got about 70 days before, by the New Jersey Bail Reform Act, I have to have a trial. And I think that, knowing that, if I don't get out, that's the fastest way out, through a jury.
That's the fastest way out, but if there's a mistrial as indicated, you clearly understand, you made it clear on the record, I know, Judge, I know what's going to happen on a mistrial. There's going to be a time period from a mistrial if something's said or if it's a hung jury.
Well, that could happen at any time, but again, it's hypothetical, we know that could happen. I can drop dead tomorrow, we do not have a trial ever.
So the criminal trials you've observed have been involved in essence, the Burlington matter, the Camden matter, which also involved the Ocean and Atlantic City matters.
Yes, I used to go in Camden County and Ocean and Burlington County. I used to show up sometimes to just watch jury selection. I used to show up sometimes and watch opening and closing statements just to observe it. I kind of liked it. It was kind of like a hobby of mine, just to kind of read the paper, catch the day of a court case, go to start, and show up and watch it. I watched a couple local lawyers around. Someone recognized me as soon as I walked in the courtroom. I used to like watching Judge Covert's cases, for instance. I like criticizing Judge Delady's cases. I wrote about them. I would put things on the internet about my observances of court hearings. Again, this is my time to do the same thing. I came here to do this.
So you came here to try a case in essence.
I came to Trenton, New Jersey, so I could have the media attention of the state. I couldn't have did this in Sicklerville, New Jersey. I came here on purpose. I didn't even hide it. I posted things. I said I wanted it. I said what I was going to do. I told Ms. Cash plenty of times. I came here to do this. Maybe I'm a little eccentric. Maybe I smoke too much. Who knows? I look at myself as a modern day William Penn. And that's exactly what I plan to do. I look at William Penn case. I like William Penn. William Penn to me is one of the greatest guys in history. I always emulated him. I wanted to, and this is my opportunity to emulate him. I've always admired him, is what I meant to say.
So in essence, you're seeking standby counsel who will assist you with technicalities and also ensure that you're within the bounds of the applicable case law, rules of evidence, and court rules.
Yes.
Are you going to retain someone? Who's going to be that person?
Well, again, I did fill out the 5A form. I asked for I never say that. Ancillary service.
Ancillary services.
Yes, that word always gets me. With the public defender's office, I've spoken to Ms. Perez, I've spoken to Ms. Lyons. I think the decision who actually is that assistant comes down to Ms. Lyons. You know, I don't know who it's going to be. To be frankly honest with you, I prefer Ms. Perez. I think I can get along with her. I don't get along with everybody. I bump heads with people. I'm 52 years old. I've come to accept it. I bump heads with people. I always have. So, but I think I can get along with Ms. Perez, no problem. I irritate people. Sometimes on purpose. In this case, it backfired. Too much bloated.
Don't say anything else.
I know. I'm just saying.
Just don't say anything else.
Too much bloated.
Don't say anything else. I thought this is just about your experience, your knowledge of the law, your consequences which you recognize. I think the consequences which you recognize could be quite severe with respect to some of the charges, because some of the charges, as you were aware, you mentioned yourself, could be consecutive.
Yes.
Okay? So if it's concurrent on one situation, it could be between 5 and 10 years. Consecutive could be between 8 and 15 years, I believe, under 1702-105, 1609-0702, I think is a fourth degree, and then the 1608-0667. But the 1608-0667, if they're concurrent, could be hypothetically, I didn't look at 3 to 5 or 18 to 37, if they're right consecutive. You recognize what actually goes in that consecutive question because you've already, I think, looked at it.
Yeah, I looked at it all. I read it all. Nothing else to do. I think I read it all mostly before I even came in here.
Martha Halshin. Please, with respect to the phones, record should also reflect, I'm just advising that on June 2nd, 2017, there was an appellate division decision, State of New Jersey versus John Van Ness, decision with respect to the request to appear pro se and stay up by counsel. They had a duty to disclose what I read, and I read that June 2nd, 2017. Counsel on behalf of the state,
Not in terms of argument, Your Honor. I would just direct Your Honor's attention to State versus King. It outlines very clearly all the questions that have to be asked of the defendant. I think there are a few questions that the court has not yet asked the
I
defendant.
have King right here, State versus King, which is 210 NJ2, have that right here.
And I would just, Your Honor, looking at page 8 of the opinion, which actually is page, let's see what it is on the action. It looks like page 8 into page 10, Your Honor, addressing the numerous factors. Among those, and I'd ask Your Honor, inquire as to the defendant. He understands that he waives his right to post-conviction relief. He understands that he is representing himself, but thereby risks the fact that should he, in doing so, cross the line, he would subject himself to cross-examination, that there is a line between defendant and defense attorney. I think those things, by read of both Reddish and King, Reddish is 181 New Jersey, and the particular area would be at 594. Those would address the fact that these additional factors have to be understood by the defendant.
There's also State versus Slattery also, which is 239 NJ Super 549.
State versus Long also.
And the only other thing, Judge, with regard to those, I know the defendant indicates he understands the consequences of his going pro se as far as the number of years he's facing. I would ask that the court just go through each of those indictments with him one count at a time to make sure that he does. Some of the numbers that he threw out were not exactly accurate, and I just think it should be made clear to him exactly what those numbers are, especially because he does not have counsel with him now. I think he does need to know that. With regard to argument as far as a hybrid counsel goes, I know that is always an issue the court addresses. There is clearly a constitutional right to a representation, but there is no constitutional right to a hybrid representation. The courts do not look favorably on that. The court would have to be very specific as to what that would be. According to Figueroa, Judge 186, New Jersey, 589 at 593 to 594. So those things I'd ask the court to address with the defendant, just so that the record is clear going forward.
Let me put all the sites on the record setting now. Slattery, which is at 239 NJ Super 534, Orlando versus California, 422 USA 6. We also have State versus King, which is 212 NJ2, as was indicated. Also, you have Reddish, State versus Reddish, which is 181 NJ 550, State versus Responding CRIS AFI 128 NJ.
State versus Blazer should be in there too. I think State versus Long specifically talks about hybrid representation, if I remember right.
Yeah, and the hybrid representation here is quite interesting because, in essence, I think it's the court's obligation to craft a hybrid representation type of situation, exactly what the situation is. What Mr. Forchion's indicated that this is his experience, this is how he's done it in the past, correct?
Yes, and it wasn't appealed by the prosecution in any of the counties. Matter of fact, that in Burlington County, prosecution opposed it, and the judge took a month or so, a couple weeks to decide, and decided in my favor. At that time, I was out on bail, it didn't matter how long he took, though.
In essence, under indictment 1608-0667, possession of controlled dangerous substance, 4th degree, 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 distribution of controlled dangerous substance, 3rd degree, possession of controlled dangerous substance with intent to distribute, 3rd degree, possession of controlled dangerous substance with intent to distribute on or near school property, 3rd degree, possession of controlled dangerous substance with intent to distribute within a school zone, 3rd degree, maintaining a narcotic nuisance, 3rd degree, possession of drug paraphernalia with the intent to distribute, 4th degree, and maintaining a fortified structure, 3rd degree. Also in indictment 1609-0720, cyber harassment, 4th degree, and on indictment 1702-0105, witness tampering, 2nd degree, witness tampering, 3rd degree. With respect to the statutory defenses, I believe on 080667, Mr. Forchion may be concerned with some entrapment issues. Okay. Range of punishment on 1608-0667, and I would just generally minimum 3 to 5 years of false charges current. I also have 18 to 37.5 years of all charges running consecutive. On indictment 1609-0720, 18 months minimum.
Which indictment was that again?
The 1609-0720, which is the cyber harassment. And also indictment 1702-0105, minimum 5 to 10 years if all charges remain concurrent, maximum 8 to 15 years if all charges remain consecutive. These are just some ranges. And I think, Mr. Forchion, you acknowledged that throughout your testimony because you indicated which ones you had some concern with.
Yes.
Okay? I think you mentioned it several times. Okay?
You just mentioned State versus John Van Ness, which I didn't know nothing about.
Well, I wanted to, listen, a case was just recently decided, it's going it out, decided June 2nd, 2017.
Mr. Van Ness granted his right?
It's an interesting decision. It consists of 41 pages. So, it just, in anything that I write, I'm going to include it. It was approved, it was, I'm going to be frank, unreported up to the case that was just decided. Okay?
Which would supersede a Supreme Court case, would it?
You're correct.
All right, so we're still at State versus Long.
But I think there's just some interesting language that everyone can draw on. Okay, let's go back to Ms. Katz.
The only other thing I would indicate, Your Honor indicated, and Mr. Forchion did as well, that he appeared in front of numerous courts, one of which was Burlington. That was Judge Delahaye. There is a transcript available at Asset Court making determinations. Take a look at that transcript. I certainly can provide a copy to the court if the court asks, but I'd ask that Your Honor review that transcript because a lot of these issues were dealt with then, and certainly as the trial proceeded, there were numerous issues with Mr. Forchion's representing himself. Ultimately, he did do it. Ultimately, the case resolved as he indicated, but I'd ask Your Honor, just as far as any issues that come up, if you could review that and make this way allow the court to consider those issues and address those issues should they be necessary prior to even getting to any concerns. It would maybe cut off any problems from the get-go.
I don't know if this is right objecting or not.
No.
Nothing I read in any of these cases that deal specifically with this issue is that a option that the the judge should look back at old cases or prior cases or prior circumstances where the defendant represented himself and evaluate him. I mean, to be honest with you, there was no official misconduct cited on me. There was no official anything as far as the court proceedings. As far as in Judge Delahaye's office, Judge Delahaye had an issue with my publicity and my talking to the press. And again, that's always my issue. I talk too much. But I did nothing in the courtroom. And even for her to suggest that would kind of be...
I don't think she should say that. I think what she's saying is, I think her argument is as follows. See what was done with respect to permitting the defendant to appear, to represent himself in Burlington County, and maybe consider that as some type of guideline as to what was done, exactly what was done, how was the jury selected, for instance, how was the opening done, and to see if there's any guidelines. If I don't know, I don't have a copy.
My fear about that has nothing to do with you actually looking at the contents of it.
Yeah.
My fear about that is, again, delaying and stalling me.
Well, no, I'm not going. I don't think she's asking me to look at it now. I think she's asking me to look at it depending on my decision. I think that's what you're saying. So, I mean, the question is the guideline. I do have concerns. Please be seated. I do have concerns on jury selection. Let me say this. Okay.
Again, I actually have the entire transcript of every one of my trials are online. Obviously, I can't get to it like this, but I could have it to you by email within hours if I had it got to a computer. But my whole opening is online, May 1st, 2012. But again, I mean, orange.
No, I don't think I need to do that. I think I understand exactly what you're seeking in this question. I think you're seeking sort of a standby hybrid type situation. Okay?
Yes.
Ms. Katz, obviously, I don't think I need the transcripts now. I think Mr. Forchion's position is he wants the case tried. In accordance with the Speedy Trial Act. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Ms. Katz, let's go back to your questionings, because you cited a case and you referred to what case did you cite to, Mrs. King?
So I'm taking a look, I'm just looking at my copy, so it would be page 8 and 9 of the opinion, which is page, slide, I just want to see where we are here.
Could I have a copy of that?
Is page, page 26.
It was actually I actually specifically asked the public defender's office to bring it to me today. I know which cases I wanted.
I'm going to...
State versus King, State versus Figueroa, State versus...
That's why I put the sites on the record.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, I put them on the record so we knew exactly what you're talking about, because there's some citing of cases. I wanted to make sure everybody knew the cases and what the sites were, okay? So we'll have those, okay? Ms. Katz, just so you get through this, what is it that you're indicating that you wish the court to continue to volunteer Mr. Forchion?
Yeah, in my reading of the case law, it just indicates that in order for the court to make a determination, the court needs to ensure, and I'll quote from King, Your Honor, a trial court must ensure that the defendant seeking to represent himself at trial is aware that in the event of a conviction, he will not be able to seek post-conviction relief, alleging that he had been deprived of the assistance of counsel. That's one of the things that has to be reminded. The other thing, Your Honor, you need to question, it indicates a trial court must question the defendant to ascertain whether he actually understands the nature and consequences of the waiver. I think Your Honor has done that. With regard to the defendant's position as both defendant and as defense counsel, there is the line that has to be drawn indicating, as Reddish, which is cited in King, indicates the defendant will the defendant experience difficulty in separating his role as a defendant and counsel, whether the defendant understands that he not only has the right not to testify, but also the right not to incriminate himself in any manner, whether he understands that he could make comments as counsel from which the jury might infer that he had knowledge of incriminating evidence and the difficulty in avoiding such comments, and whether he fully understands that if he crosses the line separating counsel from witness, he may forfeit his right to remain silent and subject himself to cross-examination by the state.
Well, let me ask you a question. If he's in the trial and he's just asking questions, okay, he won't forfeit his right to remain silent.
Okay, Your Honor, it all depends on the content of the questions and the way they're asked, and the case law is quite clear that way. Sometimes someone gets up and by what they say, they make
Well,
themselves a
that's
witness.
one of my concerns is I think, Mr. Forchion, if there's a question, there's going to be an objection. The question is to what extent that questioning does it affect the trial? Does
Absolutely.
it cross the line so that Mr. Forchion is then subject to a, I have to declare a mistrial, okay, on a case because of question. The other situation is, you know, if he decides to take the witness stand and forfeit his constitutionally guaranteed rights, he's not going to be able to ask himself questions, okay? Or he's not going to be able to just tell a story, okay? He's going to have to be questioned specifically and answer those specific questions and be responsive to those questions.
You know, I understand that, but it's not, the question is not whether I understand that, but to make clear for the record that Mr. Fortune understands it. He's done this before, he can also surmise he understands it, but the record has to be complete for appellate purposes.
I understand
Mr.
it.
Fortune, you understand, I think you addressed this before, there's numerous questions. I
Yes.
think you indicated, you understand that there's certain limitations based upon the court rules and the rules of evidence, and those limitations, you're not really familiar with all those limitations, but that's why you're asking to have counsel there to assist you with respect to those limitations.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And the other thing is, you understand, if you take the witness stand and do not exercise your constitutional rights, that you can't just tell a story. It's got to be question, answer. So it's got to be a responsive answer to
I understand.
You understand that? Okay.
Well,
You also understand one of the interesting, let me get through this because there's some other things here. You understand that if the court grants your request, okay, that if there's a finding of guilt, you can't then say, well, you know, counsel really didn't do a good job. Or I didn't know what counsel was doing. Counsel really never helped me. There was a problem. You understand? There could be an issue with respect to post-conviction relief.
I absolutely do. And that is actually why I'm asking to represent myself, because if I was saddled with an attorney that I didn't choose, I didn't pick, and they put on the case that they picked and they chose, then I would be at, if I was convicted, I would be at the appellate court of post-conviction relief, and I would be arguing various forms of ineffective assistance of counsel. Counsel didn't follow my instructions, blah, 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 blah. I think it's the safest way for both the state and the court to let me do me.
Now, here's another interesting thing you mentioned about motions. You're not going to file any motions because you want your trial tried in accordance with speedy trial.
Yes.
But the question is, are the motions that could help you, the motions that assist you, motions that can clarify some issues to assist you in trial? And you're indicating, I don't want to file any motions. I want to proceed. Okay? I don't want to file any motions, for instance, to limit evidence. Okay? There may be motions that could be beneficial to you.
I totally understand. Again, prior to December 1st, 2017, and the enactment of the Bail Reform Act, I would have probably pursued all those avenues. The Bail Reform Act should also be called something like the deprivation of the Constitutional Rights Act. But that's, again, another story for the federal courts.
Let me ask you a question.
But I do understand, and I'm making these decisions because of the situation I'm in right now. Again, in previous cases, yes, I did file for a motion to this, motion for that. But in the situation I'm in now, the incident case I'm in now,
This unique situation,
it's all over the state. I ain't the only one who feels this way.
you know there are restrictions on what you can say on openings and summations. Okay, you understand that?
I do understand that. Something this Kat said, when she said I couldn't just give a story or something like that. When she gives her opening statement, she's going to tell the state side of things. I plan on telling my side of things as part of my opening statement. Like, you know, the entrapment part, the getting picked on by the state part, the harassment by the police officers part, the phony charges, the bogus charges, the indictments of the ham sandwich charges. Like, that's how I am going to present it, that this is bull crap, and you 12 people have the ability, the power to veto the bull crap and say not guilty.
But you understand the limitations in that opening. Okay?
Yeah.
You also understand you have right under the Constitution to remain silent.
Yes, I do.
You also understand that if you're acting as your own counsel and asking questions of witnesses, the jury could infer from the questions themselves that you have knowledge of some type of information, something that may not be, something that could be inadmissible, something that may not be offered. So you can ask a question with certain knowledge that could be detrimental to you. You understand that?
Yes, but I look at things from right to left a lot of times. There's a reciprocal to everything, and there's going to be things that I'll probably say that I actually want the jury to infer.
So,
Yeah, I do understand.
You understand.
We'll utilize that, yes.
you understand if you, in conjunction with counsel, you would have the right to exercise your constitutional guaranteed rights, you understand that? But you can't, you understand what Mrs. Katz's issue was. You waive any later claim that your self-representation constituted ineffective assistance of counsel, and that includes standby counsel or assistant counsel if they assist you. You understand that?
I do understand that, but hypothetically thinking, if I get right in the middle of the trial and the assistant refuses to do something or refuses to help me or assist me, then I think I still preserve that right. But yes, I do understand that that's the, and I know she whoever it is, won't be allowed to violate,
Client confidentiality.
yeah, well, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say, court rules, lawyer ethics issues, I know that. But there may come a time where I say, I want to get on the stand, they don't want me on the stand, or I want to testify, or I want to say this, I want to say that, and they don't want to help me. Just in case, hypothetically. I don't anticipate that, but hypothetically, since she's presenting hypotheticals, yes, I understand, I totally understand.
Okay, now, you just mentioned something. What happens if you're in trial and there is a disagreement on how to proceed?
Then I win. It's mine, it's me, that's why we're here.
So counsel, in other words, counsel advises you not to do it a certain way. You object. You're saying, I want to do it this way. This is how I'm going to do it. Do you think that's going to cause a problem with counsel? And
I
you-
hope not. I hope they don't take it personally. I hope I'm just another case to them and they're providing assistance to the Sixth Amendment mandates. That's how I hope it's done. But it's happened to me before. It happened to me May 8th.
Do you think that a trained attorney would be better to defend you than you doing it yourself?
No.
Tell me why.
I think I can tell my story from my perspective better than they can tell the story from their perspective. I'm fighting for my life and I'm fighting for my freedom. And like I said, I came here to put on this show. How could I do that if someone else is speaking for me? I don't know how clear to say it, that the state fell into my trap, and that's how I look at it. And I get to put on my show. I get to stand at the podium. I get to put on my show. And that's what I came to do.
I understand.
I specifically chose Trenton, New Jersey, Mercer County.
You understand, and one of my concerns is a hung jury or a mistrial could affect could continue detention. You understand that?
I totally do.
Let's get back to the attorney situation. I indicated to you, you can't later on claim that your self-representation constituted ineffective assistance of counsel. You understand?
I understand that. I also understand Feretta said that I get to choose the defenses and the tactics. For if my defense fails, I'm the only one that suffers the consequences. So I'm the ultimate decision maker in my trial. And I want to proceed that way. That's what I'm hoping you'll grant this waiver.
And Feretta indicated the decision to proceed pro se may be fraught with the risk that existence of such risk provides no basis to deny the defendant the right to make that choice.
I totally agree.
Also citing State v. King 210 and J2. Ms. Katz, anything else?
Just the only other issue, not directly on point with regard to whether the defendant ultimately represents himself, would be the filing of this motion and the excludable time associated therewith. That would be addressed, I think, after Your Honor makes this ruling. And then we would proceed with regard to any other motions and procedures. If Your
Well, he's not
Honor,
going to file any other motions.
he's filed, he indicates though, unless I'm wrong, that he would like to address the detention issue. I do have a copy of that. I'm assuming at some point Judge Forchion will have to hear that because it's a motion of reconsideration, goes back to the judge who heard it because it's a reconsideration. But again, that would be handled ultimately once Your Honor makes a determination on this particular motion, and I would just ask.
Well, make a particular situation on this particular motion. The question becomes, is he going to represent himself? Because if it's heard from Judge Forchion, okay, I think that would be saying he wants to represent himself on that matter also, because he knows the case better than anybody else.
And I agree with that. I think you have to. I don't disagree with that at all. I think once Your Honor makes this determination, all I'm asking is that I have an opportunity, we indicate to the defendant how you want him to file the motions, how you want us to respond, because I can't respond to him.
He's not going to file on e-courts.
Correct. And I can't respond to him on e-courts.
Right, and you're going to have to say, it's also going to take some time, that's going to take some time because of just general mail delivery.
Exactly, Your Honor. That's
Okay?
my point.
So it's not an instantaneous filing, okay? It also can be some delay on the situation with respect to filing.
So in other words, Your Honor, he's going to be, if Your Honor were to grant his motion, he would handle these cases, all of them from stem to stern, any motions. You would indicate the way you would like him to file the motions and how you would like us to respond to him procedurally, Judge, just so we know.
That could affect excludable time.
Exactly. And I just want to make that clear, and I want Your Honor to just instruct the state when you ultimately make that determination.
I understand, I think Mr. Forchion understands.
I object to Ms. Katz's thought that it would go back before Judge Forchion anyway. My understanding, my reading is once I'm indicted, the case is yours, and you will be proceeding, this court will be proceeding with it. And yes, the only motion that I have that I want to file, in fact, I think it should have already been filed. I think I indicated that. I did it the old school way by writing, by mailing it. That the only issue that the motion that's on the table now, no hypotheticals, the only one on the table now is the motion to reopen the detention hearing, and I take difference to the way the wording that Ms. Katz used when she said it was a reconsideration of the detention hearing. I don't think that's what it was. I think that the appellate court, because I didn't have discovery, because it was a Habib Robinson, the Habib Robinson
You didn't have
case.
discovery
I
of
didn't have
Officer
discovery.
Robinson.
Right, and because of that, I get to reopen it. At this point, I have most of the discovery. There was one other question that I was gonna bring up, I think they have to wait till but it wasn't a motion, it was just a discovery exculpatory issues. And that would be the emails that I emailed to Ms. Katz personally, where I think those are exculpatory, those explain exactly what I was doing, exposing the witness, not threatening them or tampering with them. Exposing.
Don't.
I know, I'm just.
Don't.
But,
I'm just
okay,
telling
I
you.
understand.
I can't advise you.
I understand,
Not to say.
I totally
Do not
understand.
say.
I
Okay.
pushed it.
Okay, yeah, well, don't say anything else. Okay.
And Your Honor, there's one other quick thing. I don't think this motion to represent myself tolls my time either. I couldn't find anything, obviously, because this law is so new. But I think the day that I actually sent the letter, I don't know what day you got it, or if it's even officially filed, since it's not in e-courts, this is the first time we're hearing it. So even if you do say that time was told to start tolling now, would it be today or May 9th when I mailed it? And how long will it take you to make this decision? I don't think it should take you long,
This
but
decision is going to be pretty quick, Mr. Forchion.
yeah, that's what I was thinking,
And
so I wasn't really
understand-
worried
you
about that.
understand
But I didn't bring that up, so.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any, Ms. Katz, in essence, I'll address that on the excludable time, but the decision is going to be pretty quick because we need to get this moving. Is there anything else, Ms. Katz?
Nothing at all from the stateroom.
I had one.
Not, don't tell me anything else or anything.
No, not the email, but it goes back to the detention hearing. Because I did file that. Would you have to wait until your decision on the Ferretta hearing before you entertain the reopening of the detention hearing? Because like, for me, you have to remember from my point of view, I want to do hearing on April 27th. 7 weeks later, I'm still waiting for
When did you get
detention.
your appellate division decision, do you recall?
April 27th.
How about
That
the
was-
Supreme Court decision?
I didn't, but I didn't go to Supreme Court since it was, they granted me a new hearing. I thought coming this way would be faster than going to the Supreme Court. I made a conscious decision not to, I had an appellate lawyer who did it for me. I could have done it and been before the Supreme Court within a month under the Bail Reform Act. Here we are 7 weeks later, and I'm still trying to get a new detention hearing.
Well, I'll make a decision for you, Mr. Forchion, next couple of days. It'll be before Friday. And also, one of the concerns I have,
I mean, if I was arrested today, before Friday, we'd have a new detention hearing.
I have to decide your motion, okay? I want to go back, read some other case law, and all say the same case law. I've read a lot of case law, okay? There's a couple of things to do that, and I understand what the issue is of the detention hearing. Because if you're going to appear if you're appearing self-represented or pro se, then the court will obviously, whatever judge is, the Forchion, whatever it is going to then have the opportunity to look at that because you're appearing pro se, self-represented, okay? I just want to make sure that we're proceeding in the right manner. So, there's nothing else, Mr. Forchion, correct? You're going to get a quick turnaround this.
I understand the quick turnaround, but you also said that, you mentioned Judge Warshaw too. And again,
No, you brought it up, you said.
no, Miss Katz brought it up.
But it has to go back, you're saying, no. Your argument is, once it goes to the other judge, after the initial detention hearing, the case stays better.
Yes, it stays with you, stays here,
And
stays
Ms.
with the
Katz
rest
is
of
saying it
us.
goes back to Judge Warshaw. We're gonna find that out.
Right, and here's one of those times when I need the assistance of counsel, and I haven't officially been granted my right But again, I've never waived my right to assist on the counsel, and that's where I would be asking Ms. Lyons or the Public Defender's Office to argue that point before you, because that point they go above me, and I don't have access to the law library. The law library in Berkeley County is not sufficient.
Did you file the 5A form?
Yes.
Ms. Lyons?
Judge, I might as well throw my 2 cents into this as well. Mr. Forchion did fill out a 5A. I do technically have a file for him. Knowing that he sent in a letter asking to go pro se, I have done nothing on his behalf until a pro se decision has been made. I did speak with him, and while we can probably agree to disagree on what we believe to be the role of what he calls a hybrid and what I would call standby counsel, I advised him that I had not been willing or able yet to make a decision on what our role, if any, would be until I hear from Your Honor
Okay, so
in that decision.
once that decision is provided, now, Mr. Forchion, do I have your authority to send, I'm going to send it to you in the mail, okay? It may take a couple of days to get it to you in the mail. Do I have your authority to email it to Ms. Katz and Ms. Lyons, or do you want to wait till you get a copy?
No, you have my permission to do that. Actually, can I ask, can my brief that I filed be put on e-courts?
So my understanding is that I don't know how a pro se brief can be added to e-courts. It's done by the attorney
Done by the attorney.
RID.
That's
So-
done by the attorney.
So my understanding is that his filings would have to be submitted by paper, like we used to do.
Or what he's saying is, I submitted it the,
I gave it to the Public Defender's Office. They can put it on, put their name on
okay.
it under their number and still submit it with me as pro se. Like, I don't understand why it's so complicated.
Well, it's very, very, very technical and complicated. Let me ask you a question, Ms. Lyons. After hearing all of this, is it possible for you to speak to Mr. Forchion privately for a few moments?
Sure, I have no problem with that, but can I just add, the reason why I stood up in the first place was to address the last comment that was made as to whether a motion to reopen the detention hearing, where that would be heard. This is a matter that I have dealt with my office, just in the grand scheme of dealing with motions to reopen detention hearings, not even specifically on Mr. Forchion's case. And what criminal case management has advised me is that when the case is still pre-indictment, it goes back to Judge Warshaw for a
After
determination.
indictment comes here.
After indictment, it stays with the court to which the case is assigned.
That's what Mr. Forchion said.
And that is information that I actually had a conversation with Mr. Forchion
That's
and
what-
relayed to him what my understanding was from criminal case
What he's saying,
management.
prior to indictment, it stays with the judge who issued the detention order. After indictment, as Mr. Forchion says, it stays with the judge who's handling the trial. That's what he said, I thought.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought he said. Okay.
Judge, quite frankly, I don't know one way or the other.
Well,
I haven't seen
I'm gonna
anything
give you-
definitive.
I'm going to give you a decision
Right.
on the pro se self-represented very soon, because it has to get done. But I just want to tell you, if you're having a detention hearing, reconsideration of detention hearing, which is going to require additional briefs, okay? Because I assume he filed a brief, that could be excludable, it's going to be excludable time.
No, I agree with that, Your Honor. I do.
And what-
I disagree with that.
And wait, hold on, and what Mr. Forchion is saying is, under speedy trial, I'm entitled to a trial very soon.
Yes, and I'm 110 days into it now. And from my understanding, I have 180 days. I should be on a trial schedule by now, but I'm not. But again, I disagree with what you just said. That I don't think that that detention hearing motion, brief, should total time at all. First of all, the appellate court ruled that, and this I don't think is my fault. That, the fact, I'm not even going to blame Ms. Katz or the state. The fact of the matter is a new law. People weren't familiar with the law yet. At this point now, the Supreme Court has weighed in here, there, and the other, and it will keep weighing in here, there, and the other for a little while.
For a while.
Yeah, wait till the feds get hold of it. But I don't think that should toll my time. And again, if I got arrested today, brand new case, we're gonna have a detention hearing on Friday. So why would it toll my time now? Why? Because I'm in jail. The appellate court, in fact, I feel like my time has been told for the last 7 weeks. The appellate court ruled on April 27th that I could have a new hearing. I thought I was going to have a new hearing within a couple of days then. And then
We're gonna address.
7 weeks later, I'm still here in Orange, I haven't had my hearing, I think I have a very good argument on, at the detention.
With respect to detention.
With respect to, yeah, yes.
Okay, I understand. Okay,
And I can do them off the top of my head. I don't need.
don't tell me, don't.
I know, I'm just saying, we don't need weeks of briefs.
Okay, just don't tell me, not yet, I just, okay. I'll get you something. I have the ability to email Ms. Lyons and Ms. Katz, and I will. I'll put yours. Actually, if I email to you, Ms. Lyons, that would probably be quicker, so that you could possibly get in touch with Mr. Forchion, or I'll
Judge, I'll do my best. Mr. Fortune knows that I'm on trial. If Your Honor emails it to me, I'll be before Judge Prexta tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. But if it's done Thursday or Friday, I will bring it to him on Friday.
If it's emailed to Ms. Lyons emails it to the social worker at the jail.
Okay.
I have a hard drive and I can download
They'll
it.
put it on the thumb drive?
They'll put it on the
Okay.
thumb drive and I can look
What's
at
your
it.
social worker, which one?
Kelvin
Kelvin?
Smith.
Okay. So you have that person's email, correct?
I know Helen,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Mr. Fortune, Ms. Katz, Ms. Boyle, Ms. Lyons. We'll get you something in a couple of days. Let's get this moving.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
No way we can schedule a detention hearing for next week?
Thank you, Mr. Fortune.
All right, did you want to speak to Ms. Lyons again after she spoke to me?
No, I don't speak to Ms. Lyons. We didn't speak to Ms. I just wanted to make sure.
Judge, are you asking that I speak with Mr. Fortune now?
Or whenever you want to.
I mean, quite honestly, I'd like to know Your Honor's decision.
Okay, you're going to get that first.
I mean, I'm waiving whatever, I'll speak to her. I'll speak to her.
No, she's saying wait till, I just.
But I think she's concerned with
I think
speaking
she's
to me
concerned.
before
I
she's.
understand. I'll take care of it. I'll address it.
Just right now, technically, there's a pro se application pending.
You can speak to me.
No, what we'll do is wait till the pro se application will be
Lawyers.
by the court
This is
very, very soon, and we'll get to it. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'll get you the email.
Not the technical issues. Thanks, everybody. I got your quotes, by the way. I'm sorry. Thanks, man. Peace, everybody. Ms. Lyons, you gonna come speak to me? Just for a minute, 2 minutes, please.
I'll give you 2 minutes.
That'll work.